Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to our newest webinar, Effective Delegation and Accountability Using Microsoft 365. My name is Jeremy Cherney, and I'm the owner and founder of Tobin Solutions. That's me, that's who I am. And we're celebrating our 21st year in business, so we're excited to be sharing that and continuing to have the opportunity to do something we love, which is guaranteeing a better technology experience for people. And that includes them learning how to use the tools they may already have, learning how to create solutions to age-old business problems such as delegation. So along the way, there's gonna be some learnings and maybe a few things you're gonna discover. There'll be some opportunities as we go and look at some of the technology that Microsoft provides with Microsoft 365. And we'll do a demo. And along the way, if you've got questions, feel free to drop something in the chat, and there'll be an opportunity at the end to also ask questions. And when you are after the presentation, you will get an email with a link to our survey and to a copy of the presentation, so you'll be able to have that as well. So I think most of you probably have Microsoft 365, or you're thinking about getting Microsoft 365. So just a quick overview on what that is. It's a monthly subscription service from Microsoft. There are different tiers of service that they have, depending on different features and functions that you may need. They have different offerings around that. And it's a cloud solution, meaning Microsoft hosts your data and the applications. They have a 99% plus uptime guarantee, and they provide all of that. So you might be thinking, well, if they're doing that, what does Tobin Solutions do? We can actually assist in a number of ways with managing that product and supporting that product and helping that product make a difference in your business. And we do that with security, general support, migration, administration, development, integration, and of course, training. These are a few of the different packages that are pretty common that they have. This reflects the current pricing. Microsoft did announce a pricing increase last week or the week before, which I think is going to take place sometime next year. I got to get the exact date. It's their first price increase in a really long time, like years and years and years. And so it's going up a little bit, but still pretty affordable for what you get overall, including all the different components that are available and the fact that they just keep adding more features and functions for you into that same subscription. A lot of our clients have the business standard version, which includes email plus full desktop Microsoft Office and Teams. Some people are just going on the basic version where they just have email. And then we have some on the Business Premium Edition, which includes all of that plus some advanced security and mobile device management technologies. So we recommend figuring out which is the right package, and you can take those packages and you can give some users different tiers. So you don't all have to be on the same tier, and you can move around in those tiers of service as well. So let's get into the meat of today. So if you take a look at this slide and you read these bullet points, does any of this sound like you? I know for me, I definitely grew up a very independent kid and did a lot of things on my own, and including starting my own business and getting that going on my own, and that was great. And over time, though, as you start to build a team, you want the team to be really running the business for you. It's something I discovered later on in life, was that really my number one job as the business owner is to build the team, and the team really runs the business. And in order to do that, I had to learn how to delegate. And that was a very painful process. And in some ways, it's still a painful process, because my inclination is I got to do it myself. Like, I'm the only one that can do this right, or I can do it faster, or all the many reasons that I give for why I don't delegate effectively at times. And these bullet points, this really becomes the impact of it, right? I get overwhelmed, I get exhausted, more stuff piles up. There's just no time, it seems. And so like I said, it's practice. And so invite you guys to, think about your own effectiveness in this, because we're going to show you some tools how to do this. But unless you really follow the tools and adhere to some of the practices I'm going to show you, you may still end up being in one of these spaces here. Some of what I'm going to be sharing with you, in fact, a lot of the how to do this is based on this book. If you want it done right, you don't have to do it yourself, right? We all hear the other thing growing up. If you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. This is, you don't have to do it yourself. And Dr. Jeanette, I think it was Jeanette or Gannett, I can't remember now, actually came and spoke at one of my business group meetings a number of years ago. And just a really great practical book. And I really recommend you buy that book. It's there's lots of books out on delegation and to-do lists and managing people. And, just like people ask, what's the best diet to lose weight and get fit? It's the one you can stick to. And I would say it's the same thing with a book like this. There's lots of these out there. They probably have a lot of very similar, overlap in terms of how they recommend delegating and the benefits of delegating. This just happens to be a great book. It's 100 pages, so you can really quickly go through it, and it's $13 on Amazon. So I would recommend you get that book. That will kind of really frame up how to use the tool that we're going to be sharing with you in a bit. So when you go into the book, there's a couple of key things, and I'm sharing those with you here. But again, I really do recommend you getting the book, because it's going to add a lot more to the context and how they got at coming up with these 6 steps. So it's much more powerful when you hear the whole story. But for purposes today, we're just going to include a bit here so that you can use this as we have this conversation about using the tools. So in this book, they came up with 6 steps that you're going to delegate. So let's say, for example, we're going to create a customer appreciation event. So if we want to delegate that to somebody, because I don't want to be spending all my time at preparing for the customer appreciation event, I just want to participate and be there like the rock star. You just kind of show up and the stage is set and you just get out and perform. That's the way I'd like to do it. I'd like somebody else to do all the work. Plus, I've got other things that are on my plate that are things that only I can really be doing, that are not something I can easily delegate. So this party would be something I can really delegate. So I want to prepare beforehand. I want to start thinking about that party, what I want that to look like, what I want to do, what I want others to do in terms of getting ready for that. And as I'm preparing beforehand, and I'm putting that together, when I ultimately meet with the team that the person or the team that I'm delegating it to, I need to clearly define those tasks. So they're very clear. Now, it doesn't mean like define all the tasks, but it might mean like, what does this really look like to have this party happen? What am I thinking around that? And you want to be specific. The more specific you can get, again, without planning the whole thing out, or not planning the whole thing out in terms of designing it, it depends what you're trying to do. That might be the kind of thing where you want to design and have someone else implement it, or you want them to design it and implement it. So this is where you got it really clear what the expectations are. And after you tell people what those expectations are, it's really common for us to say, okay, do you understand? And someone will say, yes, I understand, or no, I don't understand. But a lot of times they have, yep, got it. Maybe they have a question or two. What's a more powerful thing to do is actually have them repeat the plan back to you. Really make sure that they've really got it and understand what it is, that there's no miscommunication there. The problem with communication is the illusion that it's taken place. Someone came up with that brilliant gem. I don't remember who, but it is a great gem of communication. And so unless you have somebody actually repeat back what you are planning or what the tasks are, then you'll be really clear that they are clear what it is to do. The other aspect of doing something is the time frame. So it's outlining that time frame when it must be completed. So there could be stages along the way. There could be a final end date when something is done. You get to decide, but you really want to be clear what your expectations are there. If it's get it done ASAP, which is, something I can be famous for doing, or as soon as you can fit it in, as soon as you can get to it, um, either it'll be something that someone will just put on the top of their list, even though maybe it's not the most important thing, or it'll just get on their list somewhere and maybe not happen because they haven't got a real deadline of when these are done. So you really want to get clear about it. I want this done. This party is going to happen on Thursday at noon. So it needs to be ready by then. Number 4 in the step is what is the level of authority they have to do this task? And I've got another slide that will come up on this, and we talk a little bit more about this. But it's really clear, you have to be really clear with people what that level of authority is. Is it an authority? And there's really just 3 levels in this system. There's the authority to recommend, the authority to inform and initiate, and the authority to act. And we'll go into those in a little more detail shortly. But that people really need to understand, how far do you want them to run with this task you're giving them? Do you want them just to go make it happen? Or do you want them to go bring you back ideas? Do you want to have them start it, but do a couple checkpoints along the way to make sure they're on track? You want to be very clear about that. And then based on those levels of authority and what kind of plan it is, and kind of task you're delegating, that's where you get into step 5. What are those checkpoints? And when are those checkpoints? You're going to meet with the people you're delegating to review the progress, to answer questions, to inspect the work. You might have more of these up front, and then later on, you may not use many. It might be, depending on the person's skills, you might need to spend a little more time with them so you can train them and teach them. If it's someone that's done this a lot, you may only need 1 check-in meeting or no check-in meetings, but you just want to be very clear what that looks like. And lastly, when it's all done, right, the task is done, do a quick debrief. What went well, what could have been improved, what's been learned. Give people that feedback on this, because what happens, right, if you delegate and it doesn't go your way, what's my inclination is, well, I'm going to take it back. They don't know what they're doing, or if I want it done right, I've got to do it myself, or I'm the only one that can do it. The idea of this is you're going to keep giving people that information so they can learn and grow as a member of your team. And it's a skill for us to learn as well, to learn how to delegate. So a little bit more on that, defining the level of authority. So there's a simple chart here. On the left side, we have the importance of the task and or the project's perils, meaning, pitfalls that might be there in the project. And then across the top, you've got the employee knowledge and expertise. And it's a real simple graph or chart, and you pick and you assign, is this a highly important task? Is it a medium? Is it a low? And what's the person's expertise, high, medium, low? And those are the things you would then put in as far as the level of authority that they've got. So if it's a high level task and the person has a high level of expertise, they might just begin the project and keep you informed. They might do that level 2, inform and initiate, which means they're going to maybe research and select the best course of action, inform me why it's best, and initiate it. And then along the way, there can be some checkpoints just so I can check in and intercept any potential problems. Maybe there isn't an authority to recommend, for whatever reason. I want them to research some options and propose some best solutions for me so that I can make a final decision about which way to go. And the highest power of authority is the authority to act. That is that full authority to act with respect to the task or project. And you really use it when you're confident in someone's abilities and the risks are minimal. So that could be something, you've got somebody that, they already know the process. They know what there is to do. Go do this thing. They just go run and make it happen. So this is where you pick those. And it's a really critical part, because sometimes, you may have, if you've been delegating before, you've been thinking about delegating, these are some of the things that come along the way, and this creates a real clear conversation for people about what they can really do inside of this project. They won't go too far, and they won't go far enough based on where you set this up. Another area when preparing beforehand, that's that first step. This isn't actually in the book. This is something I've kind of just learned along the way and from other resources. But you really want to think about what are your expectations around this task. And I like to think about, kind of the why of the task. When we're looking at tasks, we get into the whole doing. I got to go do this, got to go do that, and often the context for why we're going to do something, that why, really makes a difference in us really understanding what that task is, understanding the intention. And your team can't read your mind, so you have to really be clear about this. So for example, we'll do a demo of a customer appreciation event. Now I could create this task, I could assign it to somebody, and they could have invite all our customers to our conference room and bring in Jimmy John's lunch. And that could be a fine customer appreciation event. But in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, I want to do something much bigger. I want it outside. I want a big tent. I want this to be like a huge party. I want it to be a celebration. I want games and families. If you're not, and like why I want that is I want our customers to know how much we appreciate them. I want to really enjoy and get to know our team in a way they don't get to know our team when we're working with them on IT projects and security. That why is so critical to people understanding what it is that you're actually asking them to do. It adds so much more context to the to-do, and now it's no longer just a to-do. I'm not just creating an event. I'm creating a party of all parties to show how much our customers are appreciated and develop relationships between our customers and our team at a different level. So hopefully that kind of communicates to you. Explain to people why it is that you're doing things, that you're having them do these things. Makes a big difference. Okay. And if you do all that, there's some benefits. We talked about some of the downsides of not being a good delegator or not delegating at all. These are some of the benefits. You get back time in your day. You get back time in your week. It'll allow you to focus on what's most important. Instead of doing something that you could easily delegate to somebody, and then you've got these things on your list that aren't getting done, you can actually focus on those. It allows your people to grow in capability and confidence. Remember, it's your number one job is to build a team so they can run things. Having them have these opportunities. For you, this may be a simple task. For somebody new, for someone that's new to the organization, or newer in their skills, maybe they're right out of school, or an intern, or somebody that's just kind of taking on a new job, it gives them an opportunity to learn and to grow. It gives you that opportunity to develop and coach and mentor them, which people really want. People don't just like to show up for a job. They want, there's study after study that shows people want the opportunity to learn and grow. And then they get these opportunities to provide recognition. They can actually, someone else can do something, and for them, it might have been a challenging project. For you, you might have done this 50 times already. Now they've had the opportunity a chance to learn and grow, which means sometimes, the F word shows up, right? They might fail at part of the project, or they might fail along the way, and that's where the structure you set up allows you to course correct. But it's that opportunity to learn and grow, and then thank them and appreciate them and acknowledge them for them taking this on and completing the project and doing it a particular way is really great. So it gives you that opportunity to recognize them, and it gives them that great feeling of being appreciated. It also, if someone isn't doing well, maybe you brought someone on and, for whatever reason, they're not performing at the role. It could be maybe it was a bad hiring decision or for whatever else is going on. And so this also allows for documentation along the way, or even for a performance review. So it could be for clear documentation for poor performance. It could also be documentation of good performance in that world of recognition. But doing all of these things just has a much more likely chance of having more successful results in the end. So, for some of you, you may be already good delegators. Now you're just looking to, notch it up a bit. For some of you, you're kind of holding on to all those projects and all those tasks. I know I joke, I've got to-do lists that predate the birth of my teenage children that are still haven't either been done or delegated yet. So if you're one of those people, this is the opportunity to get those off your plate and to get them accomplished. Free up your own headspace on some of those things. So we're going to jump into it, some more information here, but I want to drive home this idea that just like people are learning and growing on how to learn the skills and learn how to do the tasks and projects that you need them to do, you're also learning and growing as a leader. You're learning and growing as a delegator, and it is a skill. It's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to want to take the job back because something didn't get done on time or didn't get done exactly the way you thought it should be done. And then that just means more work on you. So just like, you might have started a new fitness plan, and, the idea is you got to get started on it and you got to keep at it to really get the results. And the more you work at it, the more you're going to get those results. But that's not my six pack. I wish it was. I'm more on the left side so far, but I'm working on the other side. But the idea is you're gonna build these muscles. These are your own skills. And when you get really great at delegating, it is such a pleasure to be able to take an idea, to take a concept, to take a project you want to get going and be able to have it get fulfilled quickly and through other people. That there's a certain velocity and a power that now comes with having something you say actually happen in the world. There's a lot of ideas I have and a lot of things I said, and they just get on that list because I've got so many things on there. So the more I can delegate, the more my ideas and plans and things that are important to our team, to our customers, even sometimes things to my family, they actually are going to get done more effectively. But it's a constant building of the muscles. And just like anything else, if you stop delegating, if you stop practicing, you'll start to maybe get that flab again, and you'll start to experience some of those familiar things earlier about, the overwhelm feeling or the not having that satisfaction feeling. And you just get back to the gym, get back to the muscles, start delegating again, and you'll get back to that. So that's kind of the high level of delegating. And again, most of this is pulled right from that book. So please go buy that book. I think it'll be a real great investment for yourself or for some of your managers. If you're the owner, the CEO, president, team leader, and you've got some other people that are managers under you who are starting to get responsible for delegating, this is a great system to share with them on how to do that. So what we're going to be talking about is Microsoft Planner. Microsoft Planner comes with Microsoft 365, and it is just so ripe and ready for delegation. It's just totally designed for it, for you to be able to delegate, assign it to people, assign dates, add the information, track it. And so what we're going to do first is I'm going to go through some screenshots of what it looks like, talk about the key components of it, and then we'll do a quick demo around it, and you can see what it looks like in action. So what is Planner? Microsoft calls it task-based planning and project management. So it's easy to create new plans. You can organize and assign those tasks. You can share files with it. You can chat about what you're working on. There's progress updates and reports. There's communications that come back and forth. And what's nice about Planner is that it's integrated into Microsoft 365, so there's no additional charge for it. It integrates with all the different components, which we'll talk a bit about. There's a web browser version, so you can work with it there. There's also a mobile version. So you can put it on your phone, put it on your tablet. So it's great. So you've got full mobility to assign new tasks, track tasks, have a conversation about what's going on, see where things are at, get updated on progress, all of that from anywhere, from any device. Some of the key features that are in Microsoft Planner, it is what they call task-based planning management. So some projects work differently. They talk about tasks and milestones and phases and things like that. Those are great project managers, and there's a lot of places for those. That's not the way Microsoft Planner is designed. It's more all keyed around these tasks, and then we'll show you how tasks get put into these buckets, and the buckets become your plan, and you can create multiple plans. It's very visually appealing. It's very easy to go in and see what's there. It's kind of one of those keep it simple, stupid type solutions, which for some people, those keep it simple, stupid solutions are not the right kind of solution because they really need a lot of customization and it has to be very specific to something. But I'd give it a try. You might find that you may use this for certain projects for work, for customers and things like that, but you may also just use it for other work-related projects where it doesn't need the same level of project management that you might put on a project for a client. Accountability. So, what is accountability? That is someone's agreed to do something a particular way by a particular date. That's kind of the fundamental thing. I will send out the invitation to the party by this Friday at 5 p.m. Okay, you have a very clear idea of what the task is, who's going to do it, and by when. Then there's the holding people accountable, right? Other people get busy. Other people fall into the rabbit holes of trying to figure something out, or they get other project work loaded on them and they're trying to manage their schedule and that. So because you've got all of this in Planner, you now have the ability to assign tasks to individuals, track those individual assignments, watch the progress, and even have automatic reminders set up. So let's say you assign somebody a task and they haven't completed it yet. There can be an automatic reminder that'll happen. Give them an email saying, hey, this task hasn't been completed. So there's a lot of built-in accountability. And in the book, it talks about how to have some of those accountability conversations, which in some ways is an art form into all of itself. You can take the stick approach with holding people accountable. You can take the carrot approach. You can take the coaching approach, which is kind of what I prefer. But the idea is somewhere everybody needs somebody to stand for them to make sure that they're honoring their word in places. And so this is your way of being able to hold people accountable for the things that you want them to do. So I mentioned it's task-based. So in the task, this is what a task looks like. All the plans are made up of tasks. You can add the start and due dates if you want, or they can add the start and due dates, right? That might be part of the delegation is you're going to give them the tasks and they're going to put the calendar together and come back to that with you as, hey, here's the calendar I'm putting together on these tasks. Does this make sense to you? Does this look like it's going to fulfill? That can be one of those check-in points, right? Because some people, if it's the first time they've done a task like this, they may not know how long it's going to take. Or maybe they're not considering vacations that are coming up or holidays, or that they might need you and you're going on vacation for a week because now you've freed up some of your time. Now that you're delegating, you can actually go on vacation. So things like that can all go in there. Priorities can be put in. You can assign one or more people. You can attach files or photos, or the people can attach files or photos, right? They can start putting together something. So there could be, let's say, a task to create an invitation, and you have a checkpoint along the way to say, I want to review the invitation before it gets sent out. So they can attach the invitation to the task. You can quickly go in and see that invitation and approve it or not. You can flag tasks with labels. You can add a checklist to a task. So sometimes you have, each task can be its own sort of separate checklist item, but maybe you've got something that is a broader task that has a few different checklists along the way in there that make up that task. So it could be something like for the invitation, it could be the task is to send out the invitation. The checklist might be, create a draft of the invitation, get approval from you is another check on the item, send to the printer to get it printed, and then stuff the envelopes and mail it out, right? So you could have multiple items on that checklist. And then you can also comment back and forth. So this idea of, right now you might do a lot of emails back and forth, chatting around tasks. And now you're trying to find, where that communication is to get the status on something, or you're getting an email from somebody with a status and it's one of the other 50 emails you've gotten in the last 2 hours, and those can get lost. That takes something along the way to even be able to track those. So what's nice is the comments in line with the tasks keep those communications all centered around the tasks. So it makes it much easier to put your comments, to read comments exactly where you want them. So the fundamental unit in a planner plan is the task. And you can see that it could get unwieldy if there's a lot of tasks and you had all these tasks for a plan. So people, the solution Microsoft has for this is to create what are called buckets. And a bucket is just a bucket of tasks. And those tasks, you can create the bucket to be any way you want. So you get to decide, or the person you're delegating can even decide how to put these buckets together. But there could be, you could think of those buckets as maybe a phase or a type of work, or you could have a different bucket for different people, different ways you can do these things, but you get to decide, and you can drag and drop tasks in between buckets and move them around. And, maybe you've got to decide something assigned to somebody, and, they are going on vacation and you need to reassign it to somebody, you can move it into a different bucket. So there's different options with that. And again, this will become more clear when we get into the live demo. I mentioned there's these notifications that show up. So inside of Planner, you can talk about what kind of notifications are there. You want to get, it's mostly email notifications, letting someone, hey, you've been assigned to this task. Task is incomplete. There's an update to the task. Those kinds of things all happen. So there's a notification system in there, which is great. Makes it easy for you to go grab a status on something or to update something, and then without having to then send them an email and saying, hey, I updated the project, they can just go in and they'll get an email automatically to let them know. You also get the ability to chart your progress along the way. So this is great for a couple reasons, right? One is if you're the person who has all these tasks, and maybe they've got a lot of tasks from you, maybe they're taking tasks from multiple people, this allows them to be able to get a list of where all their tasks are and to start to kind of sort them so they can plan their work. And if you're the person going in and looking to see where is this project going, and you want to see the status of the tasks you've delegated, you can go in and get a quick view of how many tasks are left, which ones haven't been started yet or in progress, which ones are done, right? You can see them all in there. You can see maybe if someone's getting overloaded. If you go in and look at somebody's task list and they've got 20 tasks that haven't even been started yet, that could be a really great conversation to have with them, saying, hey, I noticed you haven't started these tasks yet. What's going on? What are you dealing with? Or help me out so I can understand, so we can help you get your work completed. So this is a really great way to check in and get that information. There's also security inside of Microsoft Planner, which is nice, right? So you can have plans that are public, meaning anyone inside your organization can look at those. You can have plans that are private, and that could just be private with you and one other person, or you and another group of people. But you can also even invite guests into Microsoft Planner. There's a guest feature, so that could be, we talked about this idea of planning a employee or a customer appreciation party. You might want to invite the caterer and give them guest access to your plan, because they're the ones who could update when the food's going to show up, and any issues around that or questions around the menu or things like that. And you can turn that on or off depending on what you want to do. So there's some security settings around that. Because Microsoft Planner is deeply integrated into Microsoft 365, that means it integrates, not just with all of the, not just with the Planner app itself, but also with the different components of Microsoft Office. So if you're a Microsoft Teams user, you can go in and add Planner to your Microsoft Teams and see the status of your plans inside of Microsoft Teams. There's even a feature coming where you can take a chat inside of Teams and convert it into a task. Let's see. Someone's asking about guest access. I'll see if I can fit that in to the demo. I may not have that set up for this right now. I might have to do that separately. Thanks for the question. The other place it can integrate is with Outlook, right? So you're using Outlook, you're using your calendar. So those tasks can show up on people's calendars without having to reinvent the wheel or copy and paste it. You can insert them onto the calendar. There's a Microsoft To-Do application, which is more of a personal to-do list. However, and it's kind of a to-do list management version of managing tasks, mostly for yourself. But so if you've been assigned tasks, you can see those inside of Microsoft To-Do, or you can actually assign tasks from Microsoft To-Do that'll show up in Planner. If you're using SharePoint internally, a SharePoint site, you can expose components of the Planner inside of that. And then you've got, of course, the apps for Android and Apple. And you can even export the whole thing to Excel if you just want to, if you're just a spreadsheet user and like to do that. So it's nice. You're not in an island with this application. It integrates really well inside of Microsoft 365. So there's just some basic steps to how you do that. So you sign into Planner, which means you go into office.com and over the web and you log in and you go to the apps, which I'll show you. You create your plan, you add the people, you create those buckets, you add your tasks, you can view the plan and get the updates, track the progress, set up the mobile app. It's all pretty simple. So I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And my recommendation would be, after you go through this, play with it. Create a plan, create a test plan for yourself, see how it works, maybe partner up with somebody, practice how the delegation works, kind of get a sense for how all of that goes before you roll it out for an important project, right? Because you're practicing your delegation skills. Your team may or may not be used to you learning, really delegating in this way, in this new way. And so they're going to have to do some learning as well. So you want to give them a chance to learn how to use Planner. So you want to give them an opportunity to get all that done first so that that doesn't become part of the struggle of the delegation process. Because again, as soon as the delegation progress becomes a struggle, or you have this perception that balls are being dropped or not being handled properly, the inclination is to take all the work back and put it all back on yourself. So we want to avoid that. So let us look at a demo here. Second. Okay, let me switch my sharing. All right, so I'm just sharing my web browser. So first thing you would do is you would go to www.office.com and log in so that you're all signed into your Microsoft 365 account. And then you have the apps on the side. And you see all the different apps that are available, including Planner. So I just click on Planner. And now I'm logged in as a Tobin demo user, so it's going to be pretty blank. And the first place you go is to what's called the Planner Hub, because you might be on different planners. You might have different plans for different things. You might have different plans with different groups of people. So you'll see all the different plans you have in the hub, all the plans that you're a part of. First thing we do is we create a plan. So I'm going to call this customer appreciation event. And I'm going to make this public because I don't really care who can see it. And ahead and click create plan. And wait a sec. And automatically creates that, brings it up. And here we have the customer appreciation event. Here I can click on the information. I can see this is public. Anyone can do that. If I want to go in and flag it as a favorite, I can do that. You have on the left side, you've got favorites here. So this is going to be an important project. I'm going to put that in as a favorite. So if I've got lots of plans going on, I may not have everyone as a favorite, but I'll put that here. And now I can start. It creates a default bucket for you called to do. And I can start creating tasks. So I will say, let's see, we want to set the event date. And we want to have that due by October 1st. And I'm going to assign me. Like I said, I'm logged in as Tobin demo, so this is my actual user. And that's it. I've now added a task here. So I've got, here it is, set the event date, and it's assigned to me, and it's due on October 1st. So here we have the very basics of that accountability. We have a task that's done. We have a task rather that's been created with what that is. We've got a due date, and we have somebody assigned to it. That is great. Now, what's nice about, so that's very simple. And you can go in, I can add more tasks and do the same thing. If I want, I can jump into this task, click on it, and get more information. So I can change what buckets it's in. I can change the progress. I can assign priorities to it. I can assign a start time date if I want. I can put some additional notes. I can add a checklist inside the task list. So that could be something like check for holiday and vacation conflicts. Have final approval for the date. Something like that. So you can create as many as you want on there. I've got it checked to show on card. So this is all saved in real time. So if I go back, you can see, again, I've got this task, but now I've got these other checklist items here. Now I can see these really quick, which is nice. See where things are at and go in. So maybe I've done this part. So that's disappeared. This is the only piece that's left on the checklist. When I open it up, you can see it's actually crossed off. And isn't that just so satisfying to be able to check something off and have it be crossed off like it's complete. Now maybe there's some attachments I want to add. I don't know what that would be. You can add comments in here. You can add other people to it. I can add a label. If I want to add someone else to this, I can do it. Not a problem. If I want to add another task, it could be find venue. Set the due date. Let's have that. Give it the same date. This time we're going to assign Amanda to that. Add that task. Oops, go in. And now I can say, place outdoor party for 150 people. You can even show that on the card if I want to. So again, a lot of flexibility in that. And here I could add some attachments. You can click and I can say I want to either add from a computer or from Teams or a link to a URL. Because that might be, oh, these are some of the places I'm thinking about. These are the menus of the restaurants. These are the locations. You can put all that in, so it's very easy to get to. So you've got that. And I can even rename this to-do list to something like Pre-planning. Create another bucket here called entertainment. Another bucket called food and refreshments. You know, you get to decide how many buckets you need and what these buckets are for. You can drag them around if you want the other bucket to go in a different place. You can start to see, start adding tasks in here. Now, again, you may be the person adding the tasks, or it might be, you know, after a conversation with somebody, they start adding the tasks. You know, again, it depends on what level of authority you're giving people. If it's to recommend, then it might be, hey, they're just going to go find restaurants that can hold 150 people outside. And then they're going to bring it back to you to actually approve that. Or it might be, you know, they're going to go find it and they're going to book it, but they want, before they book it, they just need a final sign off from you. There's different ways to look at it, but again, you want to make sure you're really clear what that level of authority is, and you can even include that in the task itself. So that could be, you know, Amanda's super competent. I could say, look, go find it and go book it. You've done this before, or I know you know how to do this and I trust you to get it done. Go run, make it happen. So you can do that, make it very clear. Again, that's part of that accountability. Now, if I had in my mind, I was thinking it was just an authority to recommend, and then Amanda went out and booked it, we could now have a conversation, say, hey, what happened there? Because you had just authority to recommend, and instead you went and actually booked it. And then we've got something to deal with there. So again, you can build all that accountability and conversation into this. So pretty straightforward, right? You can start building these up. You can have new plans. You can have as many plans as you want. I'm sure there's some limit, but you can have lots and lots of plans. If I go to the Planner Hub, now you can see, here's that customer appreciation event, and you can see I've got 2 tasks left. And what's nice is you can click on there and just drill right into it. Inside of the plan, you've got these charts. So here you can start to see, you know, more, if you're a chart person, you can see who's got what and who's doing what by when. You can get in there and drill into those. You can schedule things, so you can put things on the calendar. Or you can copy the plan to another plan. You can send somebody a link to the plan. You can add the plan to the calendar. You can export the plan to Excel. Got a lot of options around that. While you're in this screen, you know, depending on the complexity of it, it could start to be a lot of information on here. So you might want to, you can filter it by just people. You can filter it by other information, like which items are unassigned or which ones to do this week or next week. You can group by bucket. You know, instead of that, you can group by assigned to or progress or priority. And then this is great because, you know, part of the items you would do is, remember, you want to put those check-in points so that they're coming back to you when a time comes to review where they are with the project. So there can be, you know, check-in, and you can assign the due date. I can put that next week. Let's see how they're doing on this task. Right? Put that in. Review status. So when I'm meeting with Amanda, or you're meeting with who's something you've delegated something to, you can just bring up your planner board and sit down and just filter it just to their tasks, and you can go and look and get a status of what's done, what's not done. Becomes a great agenda for a status meeting, right? A great agenda, a great opportunity to sit down and thank and appreciate people for what the work they've done so far along in this project. It's a great opportunity for course correction. or to get, to get people on track if something's happened and they're not up to date on their due dates and they're missing some dates. Now you're just holding them accountable. Look, you agreed to this. It said you were going to find the venue for an outdoor party of 150 people by October 1st, and you haven't even called anybody yet. So, what do we need to do to get back on track? Or, what's your plan around that? How are you going to get back on track? Whatever it is, however your style of management, leading, coaching, but now you've got a framework for this conversation grounded in reality and not, I know there's been times in my life where it's been, you never get things right. You're always late. You do those, when you're upset, the never, the always, the should. And this gets a little more grounded in reality for the person who's delegating as well. You can really get a sense for what's been done or what's not done. Okay. So that is this. And then let's see, anything else I wanted to show you here. If I were to go in and schedule myself for something here, let me add that here. So I'm going to go in and add another task. Task what's just something doesn't make a difference, but I'm going to assign it to myself in this case. I did that really so I can show you. So you've got new plans, you've got your planner hub, which is all the different plans you've got, and then you can just see your tasks that are assigned to you. And then Angie, you asked, how do you link planner to to-do? It happens automatically. So if I were to go into my Microsoft To Do right now, which I actually can verify this, let's see, should just work. Microsoft To Do, let's see what's in there. And if I look at Assign to Me, oh, there they are, Create Master Task List. I can click on that. I can go right and look at it in Teams. I can add more steps to it. So that's how you see it. And you can see that in the To Do app inside of the web browser, or from the Windows-based To Do app, or from the To Do app that you can also do on your mobile device. That is the rundown. I think that is, let's see, I think those are the main things I wanted to review of that. Let me just see what's next on our planner here. Let's see, go back and share this as we wrap up. So yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So I can definitely stick around for some additional questions. Appreciate you guys being here today and taking time out of your day to learn how to do effective delegation and accountability. Hopefully you learned some new things today. Hopefully you go out and buy that book. Like I said, I can't recommend it enough. It's a really great, easy method. No reinventing the wheel around how to delegate. It's a real simple, easy process. Also, we're acknowledging, we're celebrating our 25th year in business, which we're very excited to be sharing that with everybody. So the idea of you being able to participate in this is something we're doing. So for some of you, you may have been contacted about ways that we're including you in the celebration. We've got other events and raffles and prizes and gifts and other ways we just want to celebrate with you guys all year long. If you are interested in having more conversation around this, feel free to give me a call. You've been to a lot of our webinars probably. We have other webinars on our website, and we're available to speak directly to your company or to any other business groups you're a part of on this topic or any other Microsoft 365 topics or anything cybersecurity related. Any of those kinds of things we're available for it. So hope you're all well and enjoying what's left of summer and getting excited for fall. I know I like the fall, I like that Christmas in the air that might be coming soon. And yeah, thanks for being here and look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. And then we'll stick around for questions. Let me see what we've got in the chat. Let's see. So I think I showed you how to link planner to to-do, so you can see that. Hopefully that answered that question. Thank you. If you're a member of a group with 10 people and you're not the lead, should we have making the task private? so that I do not see when others are late. Uh, let's see. I'm not sure about that. I think once you're part of a plan, you have full everything. I'm not sure if you can then set that as private, but let's take a quick look here. Let me go back to sharing that screen.
Yeah, and I'll just unmute because I'll give you an example. I
Yeah.
use Brooklyn as an example, but I'll use Jessica as well. Jessica has service reports that are expected from 10 different associates. So it's more productive for her rather than creating 10 different plans to have the one, and I might not be using the terminology right, but one plan where she assigns to 10 different associates that their service reports are due on a particular schedule. And then that means everyone has access to take a look at everyone else's service reports and can see when Jessica's sending them notes if they're late. So I was thinking it might be nice not to have it set up that way. So
yeah, I don't know if there's any like lower level security inside of this. I don't see anything obvious here. There might be some other method of doing that. I think what you might have to do would be the workaround would be to have each associate would have their plan, and when then she could go in and put those tasks in for that, she can see all her tasks in one place, and then each associate would only see the task with Brooklyn for specifically for their project.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the only way to do it. There's no, you're either in the plan or you're not. So I don't think there's any additional levels of security yet. And Microsoft's always looking at improving and adding features and things like that. So that might be something they could add, like a kind of like you can do on a calendar, make it a private item that's private for somebody.
Yeah, that would be nice, because I think, and Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a lot less work to create this one plan with than the multiple tasks within, just call it service reports. So we just may all have to agree as part of our team values that we all expect to be on time, and if you're late, everyone will see it.
Yeah, that's definitely a additional level of accountability when everyone's seeing what's going on. Yep. Yeah, and that might be part of it, like that. And it's possible that, you know, like I said, I think Planner is a great tool, and it's included with what you have, including around security, and everything's all snapped into everything. And it still may not be the if that's a requirement, it may not be the best feature, best product for you.
Yeah, and I would just add that. So is there the ability to have, maybe you showed us this and I didn't see it, private chats and private messages? So like if someone were to say, I'm sorry, I'm late, my water heater just broke, or my grandmother died, those kinds of things. I mean, I can see that there could be some like personal or private messages. Is there a way to add private comments just to the organizer, or?
I don't think so. I think you've only got if you've got access to the plan, you've got access to see everything that's in there. If they wanted to do a separate chat around a personal item like that or something that you don't want public, then you would probably just use Teams chat for that.
Okay.
What I think you would do.
Okay, thank you. I will not ask any more questions that.
Well, you are totally welcome to ask questions, and I appreciate that, because I'm sure other people are getting some value from them as well. Someone's saying great presentation and demo. Thank you very much. And it will be recorded. It is recorded and it will be posted. Oh yeah, there's Amanda already responded to that. See, Amanda, you're right on top of that. Thank you. Seeing some other thanks. So as a guest, can I see the entire plan? So the way, and again, the way Microsoft involves guests and their different solutions changes. But yeah, again, I think the guest user, the way the guest user operates is if they're part of a plan, they can see everything that's in that plan. So if you had, if you had a plan that was maybe mixed across clients, for example, you may not want to put those guests in for those plans. You might want to create a separate plan for each client, so that when they come in as a guest or it's a business partner or whoever, that they're only going to see that. And yeah, they can go in and participate. I believe, I have to verify. I think they can go in. Like I said, we don't use that feature a lot. I know it exists, but typically the way Microsoft has it is they can participate. They can do an edit and comment and mark things off and do all that. There's probably some limitations, like they probably can't create a new plan or maybe create a bucket or something like that. Thanks, Fred. Good to hear from you. And it's 10 o'clock, so we are finishing up right on time. Thank you all so much again. Have a great day, and we will see you around. Bye all.